you want to learn English that is used every day by actual native speakers, this video is for you. Because I will be going over 26, yes, 26 English sentences for daily use that you can start using immediately. Before we begin, George Lee left a comment on one of our past videos saying that it was so helpful for learners' conversational skills and language acquisition, which is so great to hear. These English sentences for daily use are going to help with your English conversational skills and language acquisition even more. Stuffed to the gills. We are starting with this one because I love anything having to do with food, and this sentence actually has to do with food. No joke. When you're stuffed to the gills, it means that you are full of food. Like you ate a lot. An example sentence of this could be if somebody asks you, oh hey, would you like some more chicken? You could say, oh no thanks, I am stuffed to the gills already. Have a heart. Obviously everybody actually has a heart, but what we're saying with this expression is expressing to someone that they should be nicer or kinder towards somebody. So if you feel like somebody is being too harsh on somebody else, you could just be like, oh come on, have a heart. That's how this sentence is used. Call dibs. When you say dibs, it's a way of claiming something or saying like, oh, that's mine. I call dibs. So this is an expression that usually young children use. It definitely brings me back to my childhood, but some adults still use it as well, especially if they want to sound like a little more kiddish or immature. Like you can literally just say something like, oh, I call dibs on that, or oh, I call dibs. I use this the most when I was younger with my sisters whenever we would go somewhere in the car, because all of us wanted to sit in the front seat of the car, in the passenger seat. So we would always be like, oh, I call dibs on the front. Move it or lose it. This sentence is a little bit over dramatic. The actual meaning of this means to move. Obviously move it or lose it. Just think of move it. That's basically what it means. To move. In truth though, it's really hard to use this phrase seriously, which is why I said it's a little bit like over dramatic. It might be something you could use jokingly when you're trying to like get through a crowd full of people or to warn someone of danger. So for example, like if you're carrying a large hot boiling pot of water somewhere and there's a lot of people, just say, move it or lose it guys. I need to get that water to the table. Something like that. But again, it's not really used as an actual threat. We just say it for fun. I'll show myself out. To show someone out is to show somebody out of like a location or away from something. You're escorting somebody out of, for example, a building. But if someone says, I'll show myself out, it means that they're fine, they don't need an escort, they can find their way out of whichever situation or place they are in. You can also say this when a couple is acting too intimate around you, like maybe your two friends are dating and you're with them and they're just acting really intimate. You can just be like, I'll show myself out and just leave them be. I've used that definitely in that situation before. I am that third person. Quiz time! Okay, we're gonna do a few quizzes throughout this video to make sure that you're really understanding how these words are used and to test your knowledge. So the first question that I have for you is a situation. Let's say that you went out to dinner with some friends and you ate a lot of food. What sentence would you say to describe how full of food you are? Yes, it is one of my personal favorite English sentences, which is I'm stuffed to the gills, meaning you're really full. Great job if you got that right. If not, I have another question for you so you can redeem yourselves with this question. Let's say that there is one cookie left in the cookie jar and you really want it. What could you say to everyone to let them know that you want it, you're gonna eat that cookie, it's yours? Yes, you would say something like, I call dibs on the cookie, because remember, calling dibs is when you're claiming something as your own. Great job, everybody. I am swamped. That is our next sentence of the day, and again, I've used this very, very often. This sentence is often used in workplaces because when you're swamped with work, it just means you have a lot to do. When you're swamped, there's so much to do. You are so busy, almost overwhelmingly busy, which I'm sure we've all experienced at least once in our lives, being swamped. For example, you could say something like, I am so swamped with work tonight, I won't be able to go out with my friends. Take a chill pill. If you tell somebody to take a chill pill, you're not telling them to actually take a pill. That's not it. There are no chill pills out there. You're basically telling somebody to calm down in a more intense way. If someone is getting really upset or overworked about something, for example, you could just say, hey, take a chill pill. You're fine. If you want to tell them to calm down, that's something that you can say. It can come across as a bit rude though, so be sure to keep that in mind because you can say this sentence in different ways that could sound more harsh or more calm. For example, you could say, take a chill pill, which is kind of rude, versus, hey, take a chill pill. It's okay. So you can modify it based on if you want to be rude or not. Pardon my French. This probably sounds super weird because we're here learning English, not French, and I literally just said pardon my French. But there's a meaning to this in English. This is something that somebody would say to apologize for saying bad language, so more like swear words. I personally don't use swear words or bad words, bad language that often, so I don't really use this sentence. But if you're prone to bad language every once in a while, like most people, this sentence could come in handy. Put out feelers. I know this might make you think of like a bug with like the feelers, but that's not what this is about at all. To put out feelers means to kind of put an idea out there and see what people think of it. It can be used a lot in business English or when you're trying to propose an idea to somebody. So yeah, it has nothing to do with like feelers on insects. No. For example, we're not sure if people actually would like the idea of a bakery where we just sell muffins. So we're just putting feelers out there to see if it's a good idea. I know some of the definitions to these sentences are so different from what they're actually saying. That's what makes English so difficult. But one really great way to actually learn these sentences, understand how they're used and when they're used, would be, in my opinion, to use FluentU. Let me show you what I mean by teaching you this next sentence through FluentU. So our next sentence is rise and shine. If you want to know what this means, you can just go up to the search bar on the FluentU platform, type in rise and shine, and there you go. Rise and shine means to wake up, basically. And if you press on the grammar tip, you can see that it's usually used to get someone out of bed. FluentU also comes with example sentences, and my personal favorite, video examples. So you can see how this is actually used in real life. Let's watch the examples for rise and shine.
Rise and shine, breakfast is ready in 10 minutes.
Okay, campers, rise and shine!
If you want to learn more of these sentences in depth and see how they're actually used in real life, you can download FluentU for 2 weeks for free in the description below so you can keep on learning and practicing. Go down a rabbit hole. The idea of going down a rabbit hole or to go down a rabbit hole originated from a novel by Lewis Carroll called Alice in Wonderland, which has become very famous, so you probably know it. Going down a rabbit hole can mean getting into a situation that is very unpredictable and overwhelming, so not the best. But this actually also has another meaning as well, going down the rabbit hole. So that's like the first meaning. The second one is when you become very interested in something, like really interested, like you're researching it all the time, really into it, stuff like that. I am the type of person who goes down a rabbit hole a lot. I will run random day, just find a really interesting piece of information or be really interested in a certain topic and just research it and get really interested in it for like a day. That is an example of going down a rabbit hole. Put a pin in it. This is something that people say to discuss coming back to a topic that's been brought up. Maybe they want to put it aside for a time and then they want to bring it up later. This can be used in business English a lot when you're in a meeting and maybe you bring up an idea. It can sometimes be seen as an excuse to not talk about something, to just push it away and never get back to it. And it might be said that way, but it also might be said in a more honest way as well. And we actually will get back to whatever topic they put a pin in. So it can be used both ways. For example, let's say I'm in a work meeting and I like raise my hand. I'm like, I have an idea of how our team can be more diverse. Maybe the boss will say, that sounds like a great idea, Cherie, but we are running out of time, so let's put a pin in it and discuss it later. Like that. Pretty please. This is a sentence also used pretty commonly by children, but adults might use it as well when they want to like be silly with each other. When you say pretty please, you're basically trying to sound extra convincing about something that you want. So it's like please, but with a little extra, like, can I please do this? Pretty please. It's like saying, see how nice and polite I can be? Now give me what I want. I actually use this frequently with my boyfriend when I really want something. Like, for example, if I really want him to buy me chocolate or ice cream, I can just be like, pretty please, and usually I get what I want. To have or throw a pity party. Yeah. Depending on how you use this expression, it could be seen as something bad or mean or not. Let me explain. When you throw a pity party, it means that you are spending time to feel bad about yourself. Basically feel sorry for yourself. You give yourself time to do that. That's throwing your own pity party. Sometimes I actually have a pity party and feel sad for a bit, and then afterwards I feel so much better. So it's like a good thing for me. But if somebody tells me something like, stop having such a pity party, that can be seen as rude. So One of my non-native friends actually used this expression with me the other day, and I got very offended. I was like, bro, like just let me have a pity party. But it turns out that it was just a miscommunication. He didn't actually mean to say that with the definition that I just gave you. Like, he thought it meant something totally different. That's how important it is to know these English sentences, especially if they sound like so much different than what they're actually defined as. You don't want to go around offending people, so jump on the bandwagon. If you jump on the bandwagon, it means you go on with whatever is like the latest trend. You hop on the bandwagon, join the trend, whether that be on like with a new app or with a book or a movie, something like that. You're jumping on it. For example, if I ended up getting a TikTok, which I do not currently have, I could say something like, I'm finally jumping on the bandwagon, I'm getting TikTok. Because I'm joining that trend. TikTok is very trendy these days. Bend over backwards. You're probably thinking in your mind right now, somebody literally like bending over backwards. But that, again, it's not what it means. It's not literal, this sentence. It's often used to say that somebody is putting a lot of effort into somebody else, like into pleasing somebody else. They're bending over backwards for somebody. They really want to please someone. They're doing a lot to please somebody. For example, I am bending over backwards preparing for my boyfriend's birthday party. I'm so excited to see how it turns out. The elephant in the room. I remember actually hearing this phrase as a kid and I had no idea what it meant. I was like, where is the elephant in my room? If you say something is the elephant in the room, it means that something is very obvious, but nobody's talking about it. Usually the elephant in the room is a topic or something that people are more uncomfortable with, so nobody's talking about it. But you can still feel that uncomfortable, awkward energy in the room. For example, maybe you broke up with your boyfriend or your girlfriend, but you're in the same friend group. So the next time after the breakup that all of you guys hang out as friends, the elephant in the room is the fact that you guys have broken up. It's kind of uncomfortable, no one wants to talk about it. So yeah, it became an uncomfortable topic. Pour your heart into something, or out to something. To pour your heart out is to confess a deep feeling, or to be very honest about what you are saying. And it can also mean to do your absolute best in something, to really try hard for something. You pour your heart out into it. For example, I poured my heart out into this presentation and it still isn't working out. I don't know what to do. Let's do another quiz to see how much you guys have learned. If you decide to finally do something that is trendy, something that everybody is doing nowadays, what sentence would you use to express that? Throw a pity party, go down a rabbit hole, or jump on the bandwagon? Option C, jump on the bandwagon, is correct. Great job, you guys. Now let's continue with more English sentences for daily use. Keep a cool head. This is what you want if you get angry easily. You want to keep a cool head. Keeping a cool head means to stay calm and relaxed even if you're very upset. For example, I know that they're not being very nice right now, but it's important that I keep a cool head about all of this. Fly off the handle. If you don't keep a cool head, you probably end up flying off the handle, because this means to get pretty upset or angry at somebody. So for example, I could say something like, I tried to be calm. I really did. But as soon as he said my friend was ugly, I flew off the handle. I couldn't handle it anymore. To be a happy camper. This actually has nothing to do with camping, but it can. Usually doesn't. So when you're a happy camper, it means that you're happy. You're feeling good, whether you're camping or not. For example, I'm not hard to please. Just give me a cup of hot chocolate and I'll be a happy camper. By the way, if you're enjoying this video so far, don't forget to give it a thumbs up to let us know. Pig out. When you pig out, it means that you eat a ton. While this expression is usually used to talk about somebody else pigging out, you can definitely use it with yourself to say that you pig out a lot when you go to a restaurant or something. For example, I skipped breakfast today, so I'm definitely going to pig out at lunch. To tear one's hair out. I know we don't want to actually do this, but to say you're tearing your hair out means that you're very, very stressed. Just remember this. Imagine that somebody is so stressed that they're literally like pulling their hair out. For example, I lost my job, so I was tearing my hair out trying to figure out how to pay for my rent. Out of the frying pan and into the fire. If you've watched or read The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien, you are probably very familiar with this phrase, or if at least seen it. This phrase can be talked about someone or something going from a bad situation into an even worse situation. So for example, if you're trying to start a new business while you are already in debt, that might be jumping out of the frying pan and into the fire. Rack one's brains. I use this expression a lot because I tend to forget things easily, and I rack my brains trying to remember. Can you guess what this means? When you're racking your brains, you're trying very hard to remember something that you forgot. For example, I was racking my brains trying to figure out his phone number, but I couldn't remember it. To have a frog in one's throat. I know this sounds really weird, but it's common. I definitely have used it multiple times throughout this past month. If you have a sore throat or if your throat just feels itchy or dry, you can say that you have a frog in your throat because that's what it means. For example, you know, if my voice is like this or something, or you know, it just doesn't feel like, it just be like, sorry guys, I have a frog in my throat. I'm a bit sick. If you want to review everything that I went over in this video, be sure to download the free PDF that I made just for you in the description below. I go over all of these phrases again so you can remember them right in the PDF just for you. If you want to know even more common phrases and expressions that people say in English, I have part 2 of your lesson right over here. My friend Fallon goes over 10 common English idioms. There's some amazing info over there and some of my favorite idioms that I use every day that I didn't mention in this video. So check it out for part 2.